It was a scorching afternoon in May 2025 when President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso received an urgent call from his communications advisor, Yakuba Sawado. "Mr. President, you need to see this right away. Ellen DeGeneres made some extremely offensive remarks about you on her show." Ibrahim was in the middle of a high-level meeting with his ministers, discussing long-term infrastructure plans. But everything came to a halt as Yakuba played the clip on his tablet. On screen, Ellen DeGeneres was in the middle of one of her trademark monologues. Only this time, the joke was at Ibrahim's expense. "Have you guys seen this president from, what is it again, Burkina Faso?" she said, prompting laughter from her audience. "He's 35 and thinks he's the savior of Africa. It's hilarious. He looks like a kid playing dress-up as a soldier." The crowd roared with laughter. "And someone needs to tell him that running a country isn't the same as playing Call of Duty. Maybe he should go back to school instead of playing president." Ibrahim sat quietly, face unreadable. Around him, his ministers grew visibly agitated. "This is outrageous," shouted Dr. Alphonse Ouedraogo, Minister of Foreign Affairs. "She's not just mocking you, she's ridiculing our nation." But Ellen wasn't done. "And that name, Ibrahim Traoré, sounds like a character in a bad telenovela. Someone tell him this isn't a TV show." The segment ended with Ellen marching around the stage in an exaggerated military parody, drawing another wave of laughter from the American audience. Ibrahim calmly closed the tablet, then looked around the room. "Call an emergency meeting," he said firmly. "It's time Ellen DeGeneres learned a lesson in respect." In the hours that followed, social media across Burkina Faso and much of Africa exploded in outrage. In Ouagadougou, university students flooded the streets, holding signs that read, "Respect our president" and "Ellen doesn't know Africa." The clip went viral almost instantly, drawing millions of views and triggering fierce backlash. That evening, Ibrahim was in his office when his wife, Ajara, entered, visibly shaken. "I saw what she said," she began, her voice tense. "How dare she speak of you, of us, like that?" He embraced her gently. "Ignorant people have always existed, my love. Today she just revealed her true self." "But she has millions of followers," Ajara replied. "She's spreading lies about who we are." Just then, Minister of the Economy Fatimata Sawado entered with disturbing news. "Mr. President, we've already felt the damage. 3 U.S. investors have canceled their upcoming meetings. Her words are costing us, economically and diplomatically." Ibrahim scanned the reports with a furrowed brow. "This is why ignorance is dangerous, but it also proves why the world must be re-educated about who we really are." Yakuba rushed in, phone in hand. "Respect Burkina Faso is trending worldwide," he said. "African leaders are speaking up. President Macky Sall of Senegal called Ellen's comments a display of total ignorance. Nana Akufo-Addo from Ghana echoed the same. Ibrahim nodded. "We have support. But we won't respond with anger. We'll respond with intelligence, gracefully but decisively." The following morning, Ibrahim convened his full communications team in the presidential palace. "Ellen DeGeneres gave us a gift," he began. "She showed her ignorance on a global stage. Now we'll use that spotlight to teach the world who we truly are." Dr. Ouedraogo leaned forward. "What's the plan, Mr. President?" Ibrahim smiled slightly. "We'll respond on her turf, with a video, but it won't be what she expects." Yakuba opened his laptop. "We can film a professional segment here at the palace. Great lighting, full production." "No," Ibrahim said. "This isn't about perfection, it's about truth. We'll film in our communities. Real people, real places." Fatimata suggested including economic figures, development stats, infrastructure milestones. "Exactly," Ibrahim said. "But let's go deeper. Let's show our people, our culture, our resilience. She mocked our image. Let's reveal our essence. A film crew was dispatched. Over the next few days, Ibrahim toured the country, visiting schools, hospitals, farms, and tech centers. The message was clear. Dignity is not found in jokes or ratings. It's built in classrooms and factories, in the hope of a people rising. When Americans watch this, Ibrahim said, they will see the difference between shallow entertainment and true leadership. IBRAHIM Traoré had a quiet but powerful suggestion. Include voices from the people. Let them speak. They've lived this transformation. You gave them a future. Back in the U.S., Ellen DeGeneres was still unaware of the firestorm she had ignited. While her producers began receiving angry emails, Ellen carried on with business as usual, laughing on set, reading cue cards, oblivious to the fact that she was about to face one of the most respectful yet devastating public responses in American television history. 3 days after Ellen's mockery aired, President Ibrahim Traoré was ready. His communications team had worked tirelessly, 72 hours without rest, to craft a message not of revenge, but of dignity. The video opened with Ibrahim seated in his presidential office. He wore a crisp suit. Behind him, the flag of Burkina Faso waved silently. "Hello, Mrs. Ellen DeGeneres," he began, his voice calm, measured. "I'm Ibrahim Traoré, the boy in a costume you laughed at. Let me introduce you to the real Burkina Faso, not the one you imagined for laughs." The camera followed him out of the palace. No motorcade, no ceremony, just a modest vehicle driving through the heart of the country. "You said I looked like I was playing house," he continued. "Let me show you what kind of house I work with." His first stop, a modern hospital in Ouagadougou, bright, clean, and bustling with doctors and nurses. "This is one of 73 health facilities we've built in just 3 years," Ibrahim narrated. "Not long ago, women here died giving birth due to lack of care. Today, maternal mortality is down 67%. You may laugh, Ellen, but we are saving lives." Next, he visited a technical school. Young Burkina students sat in classrooms learning robotics, AI programming. "You mocked my name," he said, "but these young people don't care about names. They care about opportunity." A 19-year-old student looked into the camera and said, "Before, we only dreamed of leaving. Now, we're building a future here with our president's support." Then, a cotton processing plant. Giant machines hummed. Workers moved with pride. As for video games, Miss DeGeneres, this sector alone created 45,000 jobs and exports to 23 countries. Maybe you should swap the games for the real economy. On screen, mechanized farms, solar panels, irrigation systems, highways under construction, all signs of a rising nation. "You suggested I go back to school," he said. "I completed my MBA in the early hours of the morning because my people couldn't wait for a better life." When the video dropped online, it was like a digital earthquake. Within 2 hours, 1 million views. Within 6, trending worldwide. Comments flooded in, "A masterclass in dignity." He didn't clap back. He educated the world. Ibrahim Traoré just redefined leadership. "This is the Africa they don't show you." American celebrities joined the chorus. Oprah Winfrey tweeted, "Dignity and education will always outshine ignorance. Bravo, President Traoré." Even Ellen's peers spoke out. One NBC host said, "This wasn't comedy, this was cruel." At Ellen's studio in Los Angeles, her producers were in panic mode. "You need to see this," her executive producer told her, holding out a phone. "This video is going viral, bigger than anything we've aired this month." Ellen watched, silent. Her face grew tighter with every clip of Ibrahim's poised response. "Shit," she muttered. "I really didn't know anything about him, or his country." Sponsors began pulling out. Emails flooded the network. Public pressure mounted. The backlash was no longer just online, it was economic. Her agent called an emergency meeting. You have to respond, this is spiraling. Ellen, known for rarely backing down, looked genuinely shaken. I never imagined. I didn't know, she stammered. You didn't try to know, her producer interrupted. That afternoon, Ellen stood on her stage live without a smile. Today, I need to talk about something serious, she began. A few days ago, I made comments about President IBRAHIM Traoré, comments that were ignorant, disrespectful, and simply wrong. The audience, used to laughter, sat in stunned silence. I mocked a man who has dedicated his life to improving his country. I laughed at a leader I had never researched. I made fun of a nation I didn't understand. She showed clips from Ibrahim's video. The hospitals, the schools, the students. This man, this president, built lives while I made jokes. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. The apology was broadcast across America. Meanwhile, in Burkina Faso, the calls poured in. President Emmanuel Macron, your composure and vision made France proud to be your partner. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Your response was leadership at its finest. Canada looks forward to deeper ties. Ibrahim, as always, stayed grounded. I didn't seek conflict, he said, but I used it to show the world our truth. And in that truth, the world found something rare, an African leader who didn't respond with anger, but with brilliance, who didn't retaliate, but educated. And through one viral moment, Ibrahim Traoré taught millions that dignity doesn't wear a costume. It wears results. Her voice trembled with sincerity. President Traoré, I know you're watching. I want to apologize, not just to you, but to the people of Burkina Faso and to every African whose dignity I insulted with my ignorant words. Then came the surprise. I will come to Burkina Faso myself. I want to learn, and I will donate $1 million to support educational programs across your country. In Ouagadougou, Ibrahim Traoré sat quietly in his office, watching the broadcast with his staff. She seems genuine, Ajara murmured. Ibrahim nodded. Repentance is the beginning of wisdom. Let's give her that chance. 2 weeks later, Ellen DeGeneres landed at Ouagadougou International Airport, met by a storm of cameras, reporters, and curiosity. It was her first time in Africa. Ibrahim Traoré was there to greet her in person. Welcome to Burkina Faso, Mrs. DeGeneres, he said, extending his hand warmly. Ellen, visibly nervous, bowed her head. Thank you, President. I know I don't deserve this welcome, not after what I said. Everyone deserves a second chance to understand, Ibrahim replied, smiling. Over the next 3 days, President Traoré himself became her guide. Their first stop, the state-of-the-art hospital featured in the viral video. Ellen toured the wards, met doctors, and listened to patients. She was stunned. I had no idea. This is world class, she admitted. I thought African countries didn't have this kind of health care. I was wrong. At the technical school, young minds showed off coding projects and robotics innovations. A soft-spoken student named Musa explained his irrigation app. It uses satellite weather data to help farmers, already working on 200 farms. Ellen chuckled, humbled. And here I thought you didn't even have internet out here. Everyone laughed, including Musa. At a solar energy project, Ibrahim explained that 95% of Burkina Faso's new energy comes from renewable sources. Ellen took it in quietly, overwhelmed. That night, she dined with a farmer's family. Before Ibrahim, we didn't always eat 3 meals a day, the mother told her. Now, 2 of my children are in university. Ellen sat in silence. For the first time in years, she didn't have a punchline, only respect. On her final day, she visited a cultural center where ancient art forms were being preserved. "You have more culture, more heritage, more beauty than I ever imagined," she said softly. By now, Ellen DeGeneres was unrecognizable. The woman who once mocked Ibrahim Traoré on American television was now asking questions with humility and listening with intention. As they walked through the palace gardens, she turned to him. "I have something to confess. I spent most of my life thinking I understood the world, but I was living in a bubble." Ibrahim paused. "Miss DeGeneres, admitting that takes courage. Many never do." She stopped walking. "How can you not hate me? I was ignorant, cruel even." "I don't hate you," Ibrahim said gently. "You weren't malicious. You were uninformed, and ignorance can be cured with education and experience." That afternoon, Ellen broadcast live from Burkina Faso. Her tone was somber. "I've been here 3 days, and my worldview has changed forever," she said, the presidential palace in the background. "I called Ibrahim Traoré a boy in a costume, but he's a visionary. While I was cracking jokes, he was building hospitals and schools, creating jobs, saving lives." She announced a bold new direction. "I'm launching a series on modern African leadership to dismantle the Hollywood stereotypes and introduce the world to the real Africa." At the farewell dinner, Ellen raised her glass. "President Traoré, you could have ridiculed me the way I did you. Instead, you educated me. That's true leadership." Ibrahim smiled. "You came with an open heart. That's rare. Now you can be a bridge between our worlds." When Ellen returned to Los Angeles, she wasn't just carrying footage. She was carrying a mission. 3 months later, the results were undeniable. Her show had reinvented itself. Viewership had skyrocketed. "We've grown 40% since we started telling real African stories," Ellen told CNN. The special on Ibrahim Traoré broke all records. 18 million views in the U.S. alone. In Burkina Faso, the ripple effects were even more powerful. $2.3 billion in new investment. Global tech firms opening branches. Harvard, Yale, and Stanford proposing student exchanges. "You really changed the narrative," Adjara told Ibrahim. "No," he replied. "We just let the truth speak for itself." The momentum spread across Africa. "Ibrahim opened the door for all of us," said Rwanda's President Paul Kagame. "He showed that we can challenge ignorance not with anger, but with dignity." Ellen, true to her word, launched a foundation focused on African education, sustainability, and innovation. At the opening of a new tech institute, she said, "Every dollar spent here multiplies in human development. It's the smartest investment I've ever made." Even President Trump remarked, "Ellen accomplished more for African relations than many diplomats have in decades." One quiet evening, Ibrahim looked out at the lights of his capital. "I never imagined a calm response could change the world," he told Adjara. "You didn't just defend Burkina Faso," she said. "You redefined how the world sees Africa." 1 year after the controversy, Ibrahim Traoré stood at a Harvard podium. The room was packed with students, scholars, and business leaders. "A year ago, I was laughed at on American TV," he began, with a smile that drew laughter. "Today, we're building global partnerships." Ellen sat in the front row, glowing with pride. "President Traoré taught me that dignity is more powerful than any insult," she said. Ibrahim shared the numbers. A 22% economic growth rate, 300,000 new jobs, literacy at 89%. "This is no miracle," he said. "This is what happens when a nation invests in its people." A student raised her hand. "How did you stay calm when you were mocked?" Ibrahim smiled. "My mother always said, 'Ignorant people shout. Wise people change the world. I chose to build, not to break.'" After the talk, Ellen and Ibrahim strolled through Harvard Yard. "You know," she said, "you changed my life." "And you changed millions of minds. We did it together." Ellen stopped. "I'm relocating the show. From L.A. to Ouagadougou. Africa is the future, and I want the world to see it." That night, at a White House dinner, President Trump summed it up. "Traoré did more for Africa's image in 1 year than our diplomats have in 50. In the streets of Burkina Faso, people celebrated with pride. "We don't need to shout to be heard," said one woman. "Ibrahim taught us that dignity is our loudest voice." Years later, history books would mark this moment as the beginning of a new global era, a time when one leader chose grace over anger and changed how the world sees Africa.